The man chosen to kill, the most dangerous criminal on Earth, wasn't a government assassin, a CIA phantom, or a spook in a tailored suit. He was a Scottish ex-con with a scarred past, a gravel voice and war etched into his bones. His name was Peter McAleese, former SAS operator, former mercenary, and a survivor of some of the most brutal killing fields on the planet. And the people who hired him weren't a nation-state. They were the rivals of Pablo Escobar himself, the Cali Cartel. Their mission was simple and insane. Send a team of British mercenaries into Colombia to assassinate the most feared drug lord in history. This is the true story of how that plan nearly changed history, and how it all came crashing down in the mountains. Peter McAleese grew up in the shadow of Barlinnie Prison in Glasgow, a place where violence wasn't a crime, it was a language. His father, a hard man forged by the streets, raised him to survive by striking first. By 17, Peter fled to the only place that offered structure to a life already soaked in chaos: the British Army. He joined the Parachute Regiment, a home for men who ran toward gunfire, not away from it. And from there, he rose into the elite Special Air Service, the SAS, a world where only the most relentless endured. He fought in the jungles of Borneo during the Indonesia-Malaysia confrontation, where danger came wrapped in vines and silence. But in 1969, he walked away from the SAS. A choice he later admitted was the worst decision of his life. Civilian life didn't suit him. He drowned his past in alcohol, violence, and self-destruction. Prison followed. The skills the army gave him had nowhere to go. And the world had no patience for a man built for war during peacetime. So he went back to the only life he understood. By 1976, Peter was fighting in Angola, a savage civil war where mercenaries were paid in cash and blood. The chaos suited him. It was there he met Dave Tompkins, a wiry British arms dealer with a hustler's smile and connections everywhere that mattered, and everywhere that didn't. They became partners. One supplied weapons, the other supplied war. McAleese drifted from conflict to conflict. He joined the Rhodesian SAS during the Bush War, tracking insurgents through the African wilderness. Later, he worked with South African Special Forces during apartheid era. Operations, shadowy missions that governments denied and soldiers never spoke of. But his next employer wasn't a government. It was something far darker. In 1988, Tompkins reached out with a job offer that didn't require much explanation. High risk, higher reward. Destination, Colombia. Their employer, the Cali Cartel. Their target, Pablo Escobar. The cartel war between Cali and Medellín had become a blood-soaked chess game. Escobar was too powerful, too feared, too protected. Local assassins had failed. So Cali looked abroad. They wanted professionals, men who had stormed embassies and toppled regimes, men like Peter McAleese. The cartel offered them everything: an unlimited budget, luxury accommodations, state protection, and a simple directive: kill Escobar and bring back proof. Tompkins would be paid $1,000 a day. The mercenaries, $5,000 a month plus expenses. Peter accepted immediately. Not for money, not for pride, but because he had spent his entire life running toward danger. And this was danger at its peak. McAleese assembled a 12-man strike team, mostly British, mostly ex-military. Some SS veterans who had taken part in the legendary 1980 Iranian embassy siege. They slipped into Colombia under the quiet guidance of Jorge Salcedo, a Colombian military officer secretly working for the Cali Cartel. At first they stayed in Cali, but the risk of exposure was too high, so they were moved into the mountains, to a rural villa stocked with weapons smuggled from the United States. It was like Christmas, McAleese recalled. Assault rifles, explosives, radios, claymores. Enough firepower to start a war, let alone finish one man. For 11 weeks, the team trained relentlessly. They built mock-ups of Escobar's compound, Hacienda Nápoles, They rehearsed assaults, studied aerial photos, and practiced firing drills in the jungle. Only Peter and Tompkins knew the true target. One mercenary, uneasy with the mission, fled to the UK and leaked hints to the press. The British Foreign Office condemned mercenary activity, but denied any involvement. Still, McAleese insisted years later that both London and Washington quietly knew and quietly approved. Hacienda Nápoles was more fortress than a state. Private zoo, airstrip, bullring, dozens of armed guards. The plan was bold. 2 helicopters would drop the mercenaries right into Escobar's backyard. McAleese would lead the direct assault. The goal wasn't capture. The goal was annihilation. They planned to take Escobar's head back to their employers as proof. Then came the day. Intelligence confirmed Escobar was at his ranch. The mercenaries boarded 2 helicopters. They flew low through cloud cover in the Andes, trying to stay invisible. Then the mountains swallowed them. One helicopter clipped the terrain and slammed into the hillside. The pilot was killed instantly. Tompkins and McAleese survived, but were torn apart by the impact. Peter lay broken on the mountainside, 3 days without rescue, barely clinging to life. Below them, Escobar's sicarios fanned through the jungle. Had they found the wreck, the mercenaries would have died slowly. The survivors were eventually extracted. Even wounded, McAleese wanted to continue. So the team regrouped. They planned a second attempt, staging from Panama. But whispers began to spread. Journalists caught wind of foreign mercenaries in Colombia. Cameras turned. The mission was compromised. Under pressure from every direction, the Cali cartel aborted the assassination permanently. Escobar escaped the British hit squad, but he didn't escape forever. In 1993, Colombian police cornered him on a Medellín rooftop and ended the manhunt that had consumed a nation. Not with mercenaries, but with a single burst of gunfire. Peter McAleese eventually left the life of war behind. He ran a pub. He raised a family. He aged. And in the documentary Killing Escobar, he finally confronted the shadows he had carried for decades. He didn't brag. He didn't mythologize. He said simply, "I was trained to kill by the army, but the fighting instinct came from Glasgow," he regretted. The damage, not to enemies, but to the people who loved him. Peter McAleese died in March 2024 at 81 years old. The mission he led remains one of the strangest near misses in criminal history. A cartel hiring British mercenaries to kill the world's most notorious drug lord. A story too wild for fiction, too real for comfort. They never fired the final shot, but for 11 weeks they stood at the edge of history. One helicopter crash away from changing it forever. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a deep dive story like this one.